welcome to evolution. Now we're going to learn everything about evolution, to the important person, to the different types of evolution, to the patterns of it, to the important phrases, important details, all of that. But first, what is evolution exactly? So evolution is simply defined as a change in a population over time. So as you can see here, how, humans changed over time. So we went to a monkey, to something in here between, to now us right here. And we're going to learn more about this and everything that goes on when evolution happens. So make sure you stay tuned. So you may be wondering, okay, what does Charles Darwin have to do anything with natural selection and basically all of this? Well, he's the one who proposed that the environment put selective pressure on individuals in a population. Given natural variations within the population, some individuals of the population will be more likely to survive and reproduce. These individuals are considered more fit for their environment, which also connects to natural selection. Now, what natural selection basically is the currency accepted metabolism for how evolution occurs. Those are more favorable genetic variations are more likely to survive and produce offsprings with these variations. So as you can see, there are 3 giraffes. 2 of them are the same right here, these 2. They're really short and they can't reach the tree branch, meaning they won't be able to survive and get their nutrients and food and energy. But, the last one over here, this buddy over here, this giraffe is more suitable for this environment and will produce this genes, the tawnish genes, to the children or to the next generation of it. Now, let's talk about the evidence of evolution. So the first piece of evidence are fossil record. So fossils are a big piece of evidence that shows how the organisms lived long ago before they died. So they tell us about the conditions where the organism lived and how they lived, and etc. more. There are 2 types of dating. There's a relative dating, which just tells us the approximate age of rock and organisms based on nearby rocks. The other one is radiometric dating. It's more precise age using the half-life of radioactive isotopes. Now, let's talk about the second piece of evidence. So the second piece of evidence is chemical similarities. Let me tell you something really important. So believe it or not, only 99 of molecules in living things are made from only 6 of 92 most common elements. Doesn't stop there though. There are more similarities in DNA and proteins between organisms that are more closely related than those who are more distantly related. Let's move on to the third piece of evidence, shall we? So the third piece of evidence is geographic distribution. This map is, I tried to find an example, but this map is an example of the geographic distribution. And basically what this map is trying to show you is the total reptile species richness in the US. The key is right here, right there. Anyways, the major isolated land areas and islands have their own distant plant and animal communities. Species have diverged into distantly separate species. The last piece of evidence, ladies and gentlemen, is anatomical similarities. Basically, what it is organisms that have similar body structures inherited from a common ancestor. There are two types of structure. There's a homologous structure and analogous structure. I'll just cover this up. There you go. So basically what homologous structure is structures that share the common ancestor. Analogous structure is that they have a similar function, but they don't share a common ancestral origin, like a butterfly and a bat. Though their wings are meant to fly, they don't come from the similar ancestors. Though human, dog, bird, and whale, as you can see, I did code them. There are some similar functions or similar bone structure. So that's why they are homologous, and this is why they're analogous. So now that we have talked about the evidence of evolution, now let's talk about major things to remember. The first major thing is individuals do not evolve or adapt. Populations evolved. Individuals may be born with advantages, traits, adaptations. The second thing to remember, evolution acts on variations in traits. Depending on which variation are favorable in a particular environment, a variation may be advantageous in one environment but not in the other. The third thing, mutations are a major source of variations. Now, this isn't the only thing that's important. There are also important phrases. Let's talk about the important phrases now. So here are the important phrases, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. The first phrase, survival of the fittest. Those best suited to the environment, most fit, will survive and to pass on their genes to the next generation. The next one is descent with modification. Species come from another species with gradual modifications. It implies that all organisms are related to one another, also known as common descent. And the third phrase, struggle for existence. Competition as a result of more individuals being born than can survive. Now, let's talk about the types of selection, shall we? So now let's talk about the types of selection. There are 3 types of selection. There's this stabilizing selection, directional selection, and a disruptive selection. Oh my gosh. Hold up, sorry. I thought I lost stabilizing selection. So the stabilizing selection, the average is favored. The directional selection, one of the extremes is favored. And the disruptive selection, both extremes are favored, the average is not. So, the red dashes on each one of them is the original population, which is why most of them are the same. I try to keep it the same. The greens is the pressure of natural selection, and the purple is the evolved population. Now, what I mean by the average is favored, the average is literally in the middle. So that's why the average is favored, because the pressure is coming in for the extremes. One of the extremes is favored. Here's the pressure. It's coming on one side, meaning this extreme is gone, but this extreme right here survives. The pressure here is in the middle, which is why it's saying the average is not favored, but the extremes are. So the extremes are favored here because they are still alive and they are well, they're done, they're well. Okay, they're fine. But the average is not favored. They're gone. But keep in mind, stabilizing selection results in narrower range of variation, meaning less diversity in the population. Directional selection can go either way as long as one of the extremes, variation, is favored, and the disruptive selection results in two distant population. Now, let's finish this strong by talking about the patterns of evolution. So now that we have talked everything about evolution, let's finish strong by talking about the patterns of evolution. The first pattern will be a divergent evolution. No, not the movie, not the book. Divergent, a different Divergent. What the divergent evolution is that species that were similar to a common ancestor have become distant species. This results in homologous structure. Convergent evolution means unrelated species evolve similar structures. Pressures of natural selection causing different organisms to evolve similar adaptations. This results in analogous structures. The last pattern is coevolution. Coevolution is two species that affect each other's evolution. I hope you learned a lot. Thanks for joining us about evolution. Hope to see you again soon. Bye.